On another tumultuous day in Parliament. Firstly, can you take us behind why the reasoning for why you voted the way you did?
Well, it was an extraordinary day in Parliament, and I just felt obligated to vote for the deal. We're 5 minutes away to midnight, and wherever I've been around Harlow, people, having been nervous about the deal in the first place, have now been incredibly anxious about what is going to happen. I've had businesses contact me, quite a few, really worried about what is going to happen. And we've just got to end this uncertainty. I mean, this is not about just businesses, it's about thousands of jobs for Harlow residents that depend on these businesses thriving and succeeding. And a lot of these businesses have dealings with Europe, whether we like it or not. And if we crashed out with a no deal, that could impact on them quite badly. So I felt that I had to vote for the deal because we're so close to the March 29th, the supposed leaving date, but also because I wanted to avoid a head of steam in Parliament for a second referendum, because I'm passionately opposed to a second referendum. I think that we would have a political calamity on our hands. There'd be huge political mistrust in the system. People would feel disenfranchised. The public voted to leave. And I thought that if the deal fell, what would happen is, because there's so many people in Parliament who want a second referendum, that there would be a strong likelihood of that happening.
What about the people in Harlow who simply say, as you have said, Brexit is Brexit. You go for no deal. That's really what they believed in, and they thought you believed in that. How do you respond to that?
Well, I want Brexit to mean Brexit, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we crash out with a no deal. That was never ever decided when we did the referendum, that we would leave with a deal. Everybody thought we would go for a deal of some kind. And the issue for me is that if the country had been prepared for 2 years ago for a no deal, perhaps it might have been okay. But we're 2 weeks away and the country hasn't prepared for a no deal because we thought that the Parliament would vote for the Prime Minister's deal. And so if you crash out with a no deal when you've got 40 years, or 40 plus years, I think it is, we've been in the EU, if not longer, of businesses and supply chain and the involvement of the EU, just to crash out without having properly prepared for it, I think would really potentially have a big impact on jobs. And it's what businesses in Harlow have told me. And I think the public I want to deliver Brexit, get out of the European Union, but I want a deal that we have, we join the European Free Trade Area, we still have a free trade agreement with Europe, but we're out of all the political union, which is what the public wanted, to be out of the Commons Fishery Policy, the Commons Agricultural Policy, and the European Court of Justice, because people wanted to take back control. And that's why I'm fighting now. Now the Prime Minister still has gone to fight for us to join the European Free Trade Area, by the way, which we, Britain, were founding members of the European Free Trade Area, and now which Norway, Iceland and Switzerland belong to.
How many more meaningful votes do you think we're going to have between now and March the 29th?
I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't think anyone knows. If Parliament votes for... I don't even know how the Prime Minister is going to vote tomorrow. So if Parliament votes for a no deal, whether the Prime Minister will bring her deal back. The other reason, by the way, I should have said why I voted for the deal is that I thought that actually the Prime Minister had got some significant changes for the deal. Because in the House of Commons, the Attorney General said that Britain, and I was there listening to it very, very closely, and I've actually cut out the words from Hansard from the Parliamentary record and put them on my Twitter and Facebook. He said that Britain would have a unilateral right to withdraw from this so-called backstop, the big thing that has caused a lot of controversy. So I felt that the Prime Minister had made some changes, but I don't think there's going to be any further change. I can't see the EU making any more changes, and even if they do, I can't see necessarily, given that the whole of the Labour Party, I think apart from one or two MPs, voted against the Prime Minister's deal.
And how close are we to a general election?
is again another difficult question, because there is a fixed term parliament rule where you can only have an election every 5 years, unless I think it is about 2/3 of Parliament voting for it. So MPs would have, the Prime Minister can't just say, I'm calling election. You have to have a big proportion of Parliament voting for it. And I have a feeling that Brenda from Bristol wouldn't be too happy. And the public would think it's the worst thing that could happen at this point in time, because we're in the middle of Brexit negotiations. And this is possibly one of the biggest political events since the Second World War in our country, and it's going to have an impact either way on our economy, on thousands of jobs and our businesses. And I'll be honest, I'm in the middle of this argument. I voted Remain, as you know, but I wanted to honour the result. But I fluctuate between the two sides, because sometimes I listen to hardcore Brexit arguments, and I kind of have some sympathy with it, but sometimes I listen to Remain arguments, have some sympathy with what they're saying as well. And so I'm really in the middle of this. My duty was to follow the wishes of the people. I think if the deal had got through, we would have left the EU on the 29th of March. And I think that would have been honouring the British people. I voted against it the first time because I wanted improvements. There's a lot of it I didn't like. Still a lot of it I didn't like. But I felt there'd been some changes, and that we were so close that we had to leave.
And finally, what's it like from a working environment? Is this a particularly pleasant working environment to be in?
It's not. I mean, we've got to do our duty for our constituents in Harlow, but it's a pretty grim place in the House of Commons at the moment. Both parties are divided on it. It's not even a division between Remainers and Leavers. There's so many different views from different people. And it's quite fractious, and it's there's a lot of bad blood as well. And I think it's not a great time in the history of Parliament. I think my feeling is, from speaking to people in the public, is that they're fed up with a lot of us. The public are fed up with us as MPs, and I think they're disappointed, and they wanted us to come together and vote for something and get it done, and I think we've let the public down.